Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
To another episode of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. This intro is going to be a little bit longer than normal because, this is the podcast after TAC, so I need to talk about that. So before I get into it with the partners, dude, TAC was amazing. That new prime form shot amazingly. I only lost 3 arrows, and, it is what it is. It happens. The group that we shot with was awesome. They were out of Alabama, so shout out to Richard and Josh and Richard's wife. Sorry, I never got your name, but you guys were awesome. So if you listen to this, thanks for making it such a great time. And thanks to everybody over at TAC that came out, man. Ran into a lot of people that listen to the podcast. Got to see some buddies from across the country. Got to see Kevin from Second Amendment Outdoors. Got to see Cooper and Leo from PSE. Got to see my buddies from Tulu Broadheads. Got to hang out at the boning booth with Brad, and also got to hang out with Pope and Mike, from Stonebreaker, from Bowtique and Arrows Anonymous. And then also a huge shout out to Tim Connor and Michael. God, I am so off today. I'm sorry. It's been one of those days. Josh Jones, MFJJ. I don't know what is going on with me, but huge shout out to them. Got to hang out with them for a little bit. Awesome dudes. Everybody that came out and spoke with us was great. Me and Josh had a great time. We both got some veins from boning that we are both building our hunting arrows with, which I actually, if you're watching, you can see them in the background on the quiver that's on my prime form. And dude, everything on that bow performed flawlessly. We beat the weather. It was a little bit cold, a little bit rainy, but the course was great. TAC just blew it out of the water. It was a great event. So I hope to really see you guys next year. Don't forget, we've got our bow shoot. The 3rd annual Southeastern Bow Hunter Bow Shoot is on July 13th up at Clybell WMA at 9 o'clock in the morning. That is a Sunday. So if you're going to church, I understand. The reason I did it on a Sunday this year is because last year and the year before, we did it on a Saturday, and some buddies of mine that work on Saturdays couldn't make it. So I was like, you know what? Nobody works on a Sunday. So if you want to hit church, go get the early service. But no, seriously, thanks to everybody who, came to see us, and shout out to all the people that were like, hey, great podcast, or the people that didn't know and we got to talk about it. As you can see, I've got the hat on. We are going to be making hats. We also have some stickers on the way. Let's see. We also have shirts that are going to be made. So be on the lookout for those. It's going to take some time, but we are making it happen. So yeah, that's pretty much everything with TAC that happened. It was a good trip. Can't wait for next year. And, we're going to be shooting maybe 2 courses if we actually get to take the weekends. We'll see. But once again, thank you to TAC and everybody else that came out. It was a great time. You guys made it awesome. All right, so partners. So I'm going to run through these kind of quick. Working Class Bow Hunter. Obviously, you guys know about them. Go to workingclassbowhunter.com to get any of their merch, hats, shirts, koozies, stickers, all that stuff. Use the code in the description down below. Save you 15%. Osseo gear. I've got some new Osseo gear that I've been wearing. You guys will be seeing it as time goes on. They have new stuff that's dropping. I know that Mission Whitetail, Joe's podcast, is doing phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to getting Joe on here to talk all about whitetails in July. So be on the lookout for that. We're doing an entire whitetail series. It's going to be Joe. I'm going to try and get Bobby Worthington on. I'm going to get, or if I can, I'm going to try to get Michael Perry back on. I want to do something that is going to cover everything to do with public land hunting and how to get on these bigger bucks. So we're going to learn all about that from some people that know how to do it. But if you want to switch over to Osseo, go to osseogear.com and check out everything that they have for you guys. Once again, use the code in the description, and that'll save you 15%. Summit Tree Stands. As you know, Summit's been a partner of the podcast since I basically started. So very loyal to them. I love the stuff that they make. They cover you with climbers, hang-on sticks, accessories, harnesses, all that stuff. So all of the in the description, I'm going to have all of the codes for these partners. So definitely check those out. Most of them save you 15%. Some of them's 20, some of them's 10. We're just trying to save you guys some money and get you good products in your hands. Next up is going to be the Boutique. Shout out to Mike. Dude, it sucks we didn't get to hang out as long as I would have liked, but it's all good, man. We talk all the time anyway, so it's no big deal. I'm just glad I got to see you. And yeah, man, thanks for being a part of me, growing in this entire thing. So if you guys want to get some awesome wraps, go to the boutiquellc.com and check out some of the new wraps that he's got going. I think there's a new comic wrap that he made that he just dropped. He's been doing a lot of crazy stuff, man. So go check him out and use the code in the description to get free shipping. Next up, Bergie Bowsmith, my episode on Bergie's podcast. I wish I knew the name. Let me look it up real quick because I'm not going to do them like that. It is, where is it? Creating Better Bow Hunters with Bergie Bowsmith. So look that podcast up. The episode that he and I did a few months back finally dropped. It's got some controversial stuff in it, but you guys, y'all love that stuff. So do I. So definitely check that out. Go to bergiebowsmith.com. Use the code in the description to save 10%. And that is 10% off of products and also his services. So it's covering all bases there. G5 Outdoors, I just screwed on my Mega Meat VMPs on my new hunting arrows that I built. And man, telling you, I'm excited. This season with G5 is going to be fantastic. Now that TAC is over with, I've got my brother's wedding that I have to go to this weekend. And then after that, it's really no big events, at least not up until the bow shoot. So planning on trying to take some G5 broadheads out in the woods, kill some hogs. And so I will take you guys along with me on that journey as well. Obviously, Prime Archery, the Prime form performed flawlessly. I saw a few people out there at TAC that were shooting the form. Kevin from Second Amendment Outdoors is shooting one. And, it's a beautiful bow. I love it. Draws smooth, 334 foot a second. They have speed mods that you can get up to 341 foot a second with those speed mods. And that's obviously IBO. Like I was shooting 271. Now I think I'm shooting like 267. So, and that's with only a 10 grain difference. But dude, that's plenty fast enough. Go listen to the episode with Bergie. You'll understand what I mean. But dude, the Prime form is fantastic. Most comfortable bow I've ever shot, most stable bow I ever shot. And yeah, man, after driving all morning and not having time to shoot when I got to TAC, I think it was 3 hours after we got there, we finally got time to shoot. And first shot was 57-yard shot, and that form, dude, performed flawlessly. So please go check out Prime. They also have the RBX plus 32 and 34, and there is a little bit of something I've heard, a little rumors going around. So be on the lookout for something new from Prime this year too, mid-season. Next up is gonna be Dialed Archery, my dialed proof. Beautiful sight pictures, super easy to use. Dude, that's all I gotta say. Really, there's no words. I mean, Dialed is just great. So check out Dialed Archery and get yourself a proof. There's gonna be some small batch stuff coming. They give you the option to customize your colors, color match to your bow. Dude, dialed is dialed. I'm just gonna say that. Shout out to Ace Hardware Social Circle for setting my bow up for me so quickly right before TAC. Thank you guys. Go there if you want to get your bow tuned and not send it off anywhere. But if you do want to send it off somewhere, send it to Bergie. Next up is gonna be Moultrie. So my cameras have been working great. I actually have a camera that a spider decided to make a pretty little picture on the lens. So now I've got half of the photo as a spider web. It's actually kind of cool at night, but a little frustrating. So gonna have to go out there and clean it off. No big deal. Camera's still working great. Camo dust is what I use to stay concealed in the woods. Boning archery. I'm going to show you guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you the build. So I have built 3 arrows so far. I have a few more to do, but I am running the Boning Alpha Vein. And if you can see it, that's what it looks like. Yes, I'm running heavy helical. You can see right there how heavy it is. I know at long distance, it's probably gonna, slow it down a bit. But one thing I talked to Brad about with these veins, I asked him because the veins they were showing at TAC had helical just like this. And I said, dude, that's some heavy helical. I was like, I'm kind of going away from that, but why did you guys make them like that? The reason he did this is because he said that if you look at the shape of the vein, okay, so it's lower on the back end than it is in the middle. And I said, are you guys getting parachuting? And jokingly, he was like, man, we're in Michigan. We're not shooting any further than 40 yards. And I'm like, well, we're in Georgia. We're not shooting any further than 30 yards. But I was like, are you seeing any sort of parachuting or anything like that long range? And he said, no. And that's when we discussed the shape of this vein. So me and Brad are working on a date for him to come on the podcast and talk all about this vein and its sister vein, the Atlas. That it's, I want to say it's revolutionary for building arrows. So once again, there is the Boning Alpha. I'll show you where you can actually read it. I think. Nope, can't read it because it's backwards. I don't know, whatever. There you go. You can see it. That's the Alpha. And then check out that Osseo Gear wrap. Dude, these arrows are looking sick. So that's that. I mean, that's with boning. The veins are great. I know there's more stuff coming. They actually have a new fletching jig that's going to be dropping soon, so be on the lookout for that too. A lot of big things coming from boning. So use the description or the code in the description below to save some money. You will not regret it, I promise you. Next up is going to be the chase. Talked with Brock. He's still filming. He's got some plans. He is actually going turkey hunting this weekend, I think. So hopefully he gets a bird on the ground. And last but not least, Odyssey. If you listened to the episode with Dakota last week, look, social media is about to change for us hunters, okay? So please, please, please check out Odyssey. Go download the app once the beta drops, I think in June, and be a part of the change, man. It's going to be great. Yeah, that episode was awesome. I'm very excited to see what happens. So that's all the partners. Now, if you listen to this podcast, all right, you know that I love to do a quick little bring Jesus to the table moment. Man, I'm almost speechless right now. The amount of love that I feel from just him, right, is it's crazy. I'm not going to go into full detail, but we had something happen on Monday in the family. It was a great day, and I could feel the fact that the Lord was there. Call me crazy, it's fine, but yeah, Jesus saves, man. He does. I mean, with him, there is no better feeling. There is no better feeling than knowing you're at peace. You know, you're covered. What he did on the cross covered everything bad that you've done and will do. Just place your faith in him. I got some buddies going through some stuff, man, and it's one of the toughest times in their lives. And every day I just try to hit them a little bit with scripture. And I had one of my buddies call me this morning saying that he listened to one of these songs that's about Jesus. And I sent him a TikTok. I think it was last night, and he said the same thing. He got emotional. He was crying. I mean, dudes, listen, guys cry. Okay, I don't care what anyone tells you. So we all get emotional. We all go through tough times, and when you have Jesus in your corner, it makes it 10 times easier. So that's my preacher moment. I know that one wasn't as structured as usual. I'm just amazed at what I'm seeing. But look, this episode is going to be with Michael Lee from Backwoods Life TV. So I'm going to stop making him wait. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about everything that he's been a part of and how big of a staple he is in the industry. So enough rambling. Let's get started with Michael Lee from Backwoods Life TV. You might think I'm about to be kissing some butt, but you know what? I got to give credit where credit's due. We got Mr. Michael Lee from Backwoods Life TV on the podcast today. Man, I am honestly shocked you agreed to come on here. I really am. Yeah. It's one of those deals where you get a big name, right? And you're like, hey, man, you want to come on? And sometimes you hear back and sometimes you don't. And you responded immediately. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, man, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for it. But so what's been going on? I just want to kind of dive into it. How was y'all season this year? I know, have you guys been out turkey hunting? You had to have been, right?
Oh, yeah. We started March the 15th, I think, was the first day we hit the woods in Florida.
So a while ago.
Yeah, so we've been at it pretty hard. I was talking to somebody a while ago, and I think I told them, I think we've got 21 birds on film so far this spring. With only got one trip left, so we'll be.
Jeez, where are y'all going?
South Dakota.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think you told me about that.
No, it's all good. Yeah, we're heading there next week, flying out Monday. Me and my buddy Bo from 1776 Camo, we're going out there with 2B Outfitters, a good buddy of mine, Kyle, and his brother have that place. I've been out there 3 or 4 times. I think 3 times, and we've never hunted past one day. So
wow.
Hopefully, knock on wood, we'll keep the streak alive, man.
That's wild, man.
It's pretty crazy out there.
Y'all got any plans to try and break Michael Waddell's record, doing the whole slam in one day?
Not knocking Waddy, and I think the guys that did that, but I don't have the finances to pull that.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, how is that even how is that even possible? Like, is there enough time in the day to do that? I mean,
Well,
I guess so, but
when you got to have some spots really dialed in with
yeah.
just insane ready to die turkeys, and you got to have somebody with a private jet that goes really fast.
Yeah, good point.
So,
Good point. That's
yeah.
crazy. So I'm not really a big turkey hunter. I had Tim Knight on a couple, I think it was like a month ago.
Actually,
And
that was the podcast I listened to.
was it?
Yeah,
Dude, that one,
I've known
that
Tim for a
one
long time.
clip, I posted a clip of him on TikTok that I really didn't, I knew it would fire some people up. I didn't think it was going to do as good as it did. But
Mm.
it's the one where he's like, now there's turkey hunters and there's turkey killers. And I heard that and I'm like, oh, that's getting clipped right there. I'm like, that's going to make some people mad. And it did. I mean, it was about 3 or 4 days of just constant people being like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, he's right. I'm a turkey killer. And I'm like, dude, I don't know any of these people. I'm just going to like it and keep on going.
Yeah,
But
right.
in that episode, I told him, and I mean, you listen to it, so you know, but like, I don't know anything about killing turkeys. I have this thing, I have a problem with turkeys, apparently. Like,
Mhm.
I have this one place I'm going to next week for work. It's this veterans campground, and it's over in Fayetteville. And every single time I go there, there's these two Jakes that chase us around the entire place. No clue why. I don't do anything to them, but I will go scout public around here, run into turkeys. I'll go on private land that I scout, run into turkeys. I've never killed one, never even hunted them. So what does it take to like, or let me ask you this: what is the Grand Slam? Like, what all do you have to kill to get that?
All right, so there's a Grand Slam, which is the four subspecies that we have in North America, which is the Osceola, the Eastern, the Rio, and the Merriams. All right, so there's four, and they're scattered all across the country. You got the Osceola, it's in Florida, and there's a certain line down there that somebody made up in the state of Florida that it's got to be below this line.
Mhm.
Easterns are all over half the country. Then you got Rios who kind of go through the middle of the country in the south, like Texas and Oklahoma, Kansas, up through that way over toward Nebraska, Colorado. Then you got Miriam's, which I relate the Miriam's, and this doesn't hold true, but when I think of Miriam's, because they got a white tip, I think like mountains. And that really, yes, they are in the mountains, but there's
Yeah.
other turkeys in mountains too. But with that being said, they're more further out west and up north. Then you've got the other two subspecies in the world that are the Goulds and the ocellated. So the ocellated is in the Yucatan Peninsula down in Mexico.
Mhm.
They're a jungle bird. They're really weird. Then you got the Goulds, which is northern Mexico, and there's some in like Arizona and New Mexico, but they're kind of those are more hilly mountainous birds for the most part. So
So
that'd
I
be
heard a
your
rumor.
Grand Slam.
I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's a real rumor, but someone told me that the ocellated isn't actually a turkey. Do you know anything about that? They said it's more closely related to like a peacock.
I can see that, to be honest with
Yeah,
you. But
because dude,
a
they're
peacock looks just,
wild.
it's just like a steroided turkey with a giant fan. I mean,
Yeah,
they all got to be connected somehow, right? There's some
yeah,
DNA crossing over in that pool of
dude.
birds somewhere.
When I first saw that, because I've seen photos, I didn't know what it was, and then one of my buddies who's a huge turkey hunter, he's like a turkey guide in Michigan. We're talking about, and it's really bad because he'll start talking turkeys, and I'm like kind of zoning out a bit, because if it doesn't have antlers on its head, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna listen, but I'm hard to listen to. And
Yeah.
he's talking about these birds, and I'm like, man, what about oscillating? He's like, why aren't those, I feel like that's the coolest looking turkey. And he's like, well, actually, did you know that it's not really a turkey? It's a peacock that kind of looks, I'm like, dude, it's a turkey. Look at it. It's a freaking turkey.
So is the turkey a peacock? Is a peacock a turkey? Man, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we had peacocks outside my house for years, and I don't know what happened to them. They disappeared, but I'd wake up in the morning, and dude, every morning it was like how chickens are when the sunrise comes up.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
step out that front door and you just hear, ah, and I'm just like, oh, hey, Randall, and just go to work.
So, sidebar about peacocks. We were down in Florida this year, actually, and we hunt this place. We call it the zoo. And what it is it's a big piece of property, but at the front of the property, this lady actually has it's a zoo. It's like a wildlife rescue area. So like
Uh-huh.
she literally has Bengal tigers, white tigers,
Oh, wow.
hyenas, monkeys, peacocks, horse. I mean, they got all this stuff. So it's all like rescue animals, which of course we're not hunting those.
Yeah.
we're turkey hunting on beyond that part of the ranch or whatever.
Mhm.
But with that being said, this year she was like, "Hey, we have too many peacocks. Like we've got to get rid of a few peacocks." And I'm like, the redneck started to come out. I was like, you know what, man, this is literally like driving by shooting a chicken. Like I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But people that were with me did, and I mean, dude, I'm not gonna knock it. If it would got like if a peacock would do its little call thing or whatever, and like I
Mhm.
could call it in, like I'm probably down with that.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I didn't shoot one. Some people with me did. The feathers are taller than I am. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
6'3".
Huge.
They're huge, beautiful birds. But I mean, again, it's population control. It's not
Yeah.
shooting, being malicious. It's just like, hey, there's too many of these things. They got to go. And I didn't eat any of it, but they said the meat was unreal.
Really?
Yeah. So
Huh.
it tastes. Honestly, it tastes a lot like wild turkey.
So what you're saying is we need to rally with the hunting community and make a peacock season.
I think if the numbers justify it, we should go for it.
That's, I never thought I'd be saying that on this podcast. That's crazy.
Me either. I never thought I'd be saying that period. But hey man, like, population control, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess a peacock is a non-native species anyway. So well actually there was one around my house somewhere. I guess somebody had one because I live on some acreage and a bunch of people around here, they got 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres, whatever.
Mhm.
Probably had one for a while. I'd hear it for a while. I guess it got smoked by a bobcat or something. I don't know what happened to it. It just
That's crazy.
disappeared. Some redneck might have shot it. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably thought it was a giant turkey.
Probably. Hey,
Hey,
look, it's
look.
South Georgia, man. Like I don't.
I was gonna say,
This
we're
is
both in Georgia. We know what kind of homegrown can happen around here. It's,
no,
it's
no
crazy.
telling, man. No,
It's
no
crazy.
telling what might happen.
That's wild, man. That's awesome. So, all right, what about your deer season? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was scrolling through the Instagram page a little bit earlier today.
Mm.
Y'all got some of the best footage of whitetails I've ever seen. And one of the clips made me die laughing because it was this buck that was cleaning himself, and the caption was, "What you doing, little buddy?" or something like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've wondered that for years. Like, what are you doing? I mean, how was y'all season though?
No, it was really good, man. I don't remember off the top of my head. I probably I'm trying to remember how many deer I killed last season. Probably a dozen or so. Something in that ballpark. Shot some. I mean, I've gotten into so long story short, being an outdoor TV or video now. I got to get away from this TV thing because that's where I started, but now we're
Yeah.
far from TV nowadays. It's crazy, and what we do. But it was always like, okay, you got to shoot a big buck. You got to shoot a big buck. Everybody,
Mhm.
monster buck this, 170. I mean, 200s. All this stuff's going on, and I get it, man. Like people like to see big deer.
Yeah.
But I think there's just as many people out there in this world that like to see deer, just that they can relate to. And
Mhm.
so, me growing up in South Georgia, I've got my first deer mount right on the other side of my office right here. It's probably 115-inch 10 point. I was tickled to death. That was the biggest deer I'd ever seen in the world. I got him mounted. He's on the wall now, and I can't move my computer in here, but I got walls full of stuff
Yeah.
since then. But I say that to go where it used to be it was all about shooting bucks, and then in the last few years I'm like, screw this, I'll shoot a buck when I get a chance, but I'm massacring does now. Like I've gotten into doe. Like if I go to a ranch, especially when we go to Texas, I go out there mule deer and whitetail hunt, and a buddy of mine, Matt Hicks out there, he's always like, hey man, you shoot your buck on day whatever. As soon as you get that buck down, we're going doe hunting. And I'm like, I will shoot a spike just to go doe hunting. Good, let's go. Let's have some fun. So, I mean, I've done, with a bow, with a rifle, whatever. And I really got into long range stuff. So we're like trying to bomb does at 500 yards, 700 yards, whatever. We don't care. I mean, and we're making shots. We're not just trying to like wound them. We're actually
Yeah.
our time calling the wind, dialing up, making shots. That's just got a whole another level of fun. So I got away from, I'm not away from it. Like if a 170 deer walks out, of course I'm going to shoot the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
But it's that where I'm all about having fun, man. Like I don't care about, I don't have to be the guy that's trying to kill the biggest deer, all this stuff. It's about being in a good hunting camp, having fun, putting some meat on the grill, laughing, cutting up, being with my
Yeah.
buddies and friends. That's it, man.
Well, and for those who maybe heard the working class bow hunter episode that you did with Kurt down at your place,
Yeah.
that's 100% true. Because I know that was filmed at y'all or recorded at y'all's place, and it was, dude. I'm telling you, there's something about like, so I've never had like hunting camp, but I've had something similar like when we go hunt public land out here by me. You know, it's just me and the buddies coming together, and we could. I remember 2 seasons ago, one of my buddies shot a deer, and we spent half the day. We were supposed to be hunting this middle of the rut, and we spent half the day tracking it. And we come back to the truck, and we're just cutting up, making plans for the afternoon. And there's something about that. Like last year, I took it so serious. I'm like, I'm killing a Pope and Young. I'm doing this. I want a non-typical, and I killed 3 does and recovered 1. So the good Lord humbled me pretty bad.
Yeah, it'll
And it's
happen.
the same thing. Like this year, man. Yeah, you know, one of our spots, we may have 8 shooter bucks again, but just because we had them last year, only 1 showed up. So I feel like it's, if you take it too serious and all you care about is killing just the biggest buck you can, which is not a bad thing, you kind of lose the fun, you know?
Yeah. And another thing, and I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this because we work with Spy Point cameras, shameless plug, I guess. But I do tons of recon. Like I mean, I want to know the deers that are on my property and all this stuff, but it almost takes the fun out of it because I feel like I know almost every deer that walks out. I'm like, oh, that's that deer. You know what I mean? That's this deer. He's got a kicker here, or oh, that's the one. He's got a longer G3 over here. You know what I mean? And to me, it's fun because I love the management part of being in the woods and you know, growing big deer and the food plots and everything we do to make habitat great and have a big deer population to go sit in the stand and see deer and have fun. But then some years I'm like, dude, do I know every deer around here? Like, you know what I mean? And then it deflate. Like we've got some nice bucks, don't get me wrong. But like I remember growing up hunting, it was always, I wonder what's going to walk out today.
Yep.
And now that one walks out, and I go, "Yep, that's you know, G2 8 point, you know, whatever." Yeah. I quit naming deer, by the way.
Oh, really?
I totally quit naming deer, and I'm the world's worst. Like I know every deer. Like I have to memorize, and even my buddies that help me were like, "Dude, how do you know?" I mean, I photographic memory on stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I quit naming them because everyone that I named would die. Like the neighbor kills him or he disappears. We never see him again. I was like, screw this. I'm not naming any more deer.
Bad luck.
And so now what I'll do is I'll like, hey, y'all know that 8 point? They're like, oh yeah, the one that's at that food plot, like yeah, that 8 point.
Yeah.
Oh no, not this other 8. I mean, it's terrible. Like you can't even talk. We can't even talk about it because we know what we're talking about. Well, nobody else will ever understand it. But
you've got like a system for it.
Yeah, and I mean, but honestly, that's why I like going and hunting other states and you know being able to travel like I do and see different country. And I don't never know what's going to walk out on those places. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got guys that like, hey, you're going to go hunt this spot, and this is the deer we'd like for you to be after. He's the mature buck in this, and nothing wrong with that. And you know, like Lee Lukoski has killed giant deer, and he's going to go hunt that deer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's his goal. And that's fine. Everybody should be goal oriented in what they want to do. My goal is to have fun, put some meat in the freezer, and if I get some cool antlers to go with it, that's even better. But back to it, having fun, man. Just having fun.
I wish the hunting community was more like that. I really do.
Yeah.
It kills me, and I talk about this so much on the podcast, so I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but it kills me to see like the pissing contest that we're always in every year.
So bad.
Dude, it's so annoying. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I'll like, again, last year, you know, it was a struggle. I had 8 different bucks that I would have shot. My main target buck disappeared. And so I don't know what happened to him. I think he got killed, but I'd be on Facebook, you know, at night, just scrolling or Instagram, and I'd see someone a couple counties over, you know, they killed a 140. And I'm like, dang, man, like, well, why can't I do that? But then I'd catch myself and be like, well, no, that ain't the right way to look at it. Like I should be happy for him, you know?
And I get it, man. In the world we live in, social media is it's a 1000% love-hate relationship with me. And I've got to do it. I mean, it's part of our whole business strategy and our being out there and views and everything. But with that being said, it also brings out the worst in people by far, because everybody can hide behind their phone or a keyboard and stuff that they would never say to your face. Because deep down, I don't think a lot of people are that way.
Mhm.
You know, that they're not blatantly disrespectful, but when they can just hop on there and comment on something, they feel like they have no repercussion.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get it. But of course, I learned to ignore the haters a long time ago. You've got to.
Yeah.
But what gets me is, and I catch myself sometimes too, because I'm like you, I'll be scrolling through and, you know, we both got tons of buddies on social media and like, dang, I hadn't even got to go hunting yet. And so-and-so's already killed two nice bucks. I'm just ready to go. It's not that I'm
Yeah.
for them. I'm just ready to go get mine. You know what I mean? Like get out there and have fun. Like last year was terrible for me to start with because we got hammered by a hurricane down here. And I mean, we were without power for 6 or 7 days. I mean, everything was a mess.
Dang.
Our woods was, I mean, we still have trees that we haven't
Was
cleared.
that Helene?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we got two back to back a month.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and but anyway, we made it through there. Everybody was okay, and all for the most part, houses were fine. It was just trees down. But that put me so behind on hunting. I didn't even get to go get in the woods in a deer stand until almost like November. So I shot the first buck I shot of the season. I want to say it was around like November the 14th or 18th, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And then we were able to kick it off after that. And
Yeah.
I just went wild after that.
Dang, man. I feel bad now. So I live an hour east of Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize you guys got hit that hard because for us, it was just a little windy and wet. I mean, I hunted the night that the hurricane went through. Like that, it went through that morning. I was in a stand that evening.
That the day that it was coming on shore. We were everything was good. We knew it was gonna get rough. And I checked the latest weather update the day before at like 4 or 5 o'clock, whenever that I think it was a 5 o'clock update. And I was stressed out about this one. Like that one, like I don't know. Dude, I'm probably one of the most laid back people you ever meet. Nothing gets me wound up. When they told me that hurricane was starting down there and coming this way, I had a bad feeling the whole time. And I was actually hunting with Kurt at our farm when that thing kind of started.
Yeah.
And I felt bad a little bit because when we did the podcast together at my farm down there, my mind was distracted already. Like it was
Really
days out, and I was already feeling bad about this storm.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him that. I didn't even tell him anything about that. So
Yeah.
if anybody listens to that podcast, if I'm not as good as I was the first time when we were on the podcast, that's why. But so anyway, had a bad feeling. That last update came in, and I told my wife, I said, "Get your stuff, we're leaving."
Yeah.
Because it went from 40, 60 mile an hour winds to 60 to 80 mile an hour winds to 100 to 130 mile an hour winds. And it's not that I was worried about like apocalyptic damage and anything like that. It was just, I told her, I said, and we've got a safe, like it's a built-in gun room in our house, and it's like cinder block walls. It's like a safe room, gun room, all in one. And I'm like, if it blows that away, then it's just our time to go. I mean, that's just how it's like, that's like a bad spot. But I told her, I said, we'd be all right in there. I said, but I don't want us to have to sit there all night for 4 hours or whatever and listen to this thing, wondering what the outside's going to look like.
Yeah.
And because I had a buddy that he's gone through a couple in Florida, and they went through one that was pretty rough. And that's what he said. He said, next time we're going to leave, because he said, me, my wife, my kids, we all have that in our minds. And so I didn't want to have to, not that I'm afraid of it, but I didn't want to live with it. So we grabbed some important documents out of our safe, threw some clothes in a bag, and we left. We got her mom and her mom's dogs, and we bounced out of here. And I had to talk with God in that truck ride, because they followed me with their stuff and dogs. And I'm in my truck by myself driving through the middle of nothing, all this weather, going, hey man, just heads up, I'm leaving everything I got right here, just
take care of it.
Yeah. Just hey, as long as there's something to go back to, I'm cool. I'll figure out that. But that was an eye-opening experience for sure. And you put a lot of things in perspective there. And hunting was not one. As much as I love to hunt, it was kind of one of them things. Like, you know what? If I don't ever get to go hunting again, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But
that hurricane
like that almost also make you appreciate the fun. You see what I'm saying? It goes all back to this having fun thing.
Yeah.
And then me not getting to go hunting as early as I normally do, and having to come back and clean up and help people. And I mean, we had a lot to do. not being able to go hunting until later in the season, and going back just having good friends. My buddy Brendan and his wife Ashley Shiver in Tifton, Georgia, he owns Shiver Cars, and I went by his store for some reason. I forgot. I think I was buying a trailer for something, after all this. And he said, man, you need to come go hunt with me. I said, yeah. He said, yeah. I mean, he bought this farm like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'd never been to it. And he's asked me 100 times. And I said, you know what, man, let's make it happen. And my camera guy, Jordan Brake, going back to all the good footage you were talking about. And that's Jordan and Jordan, Owen, and Grant, Adam, y'all done a great job with us. And they, Jordan was coming down. I said, well, Jordan's going to come down. We'll go deer hunting. And so it was a hot, muggy afternoon, winds blowing. He said, let's go anyway. Jordan and I show up. We go get in the stand. And an hour later, I killed a 21-inch wide 8-point. So just,
Man,
that's just,
hey,
that's how it is sometimes.
Look, the good Lord made you wait for a good one. All right.
Yeah. I had to learn a lot
Yeah.
about hunting, and not to take it for granted, and not worry about it. I learned that a long time ago, man. I can tell you a story from way back, in Kansas, about when I just one day said, you know what, I'm just not worried about this hunting stuff anymore. I'm just gonna have fun. And like my whole hunting life changed after that.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. I want to kind of transition to, like, I guess your history with this whole hunting TV deal. And I mean, that sounds like a really good spot to start with. So
Yeah.
tell the story. That's why I can put it. I'd love to hear the story about it.
All right. Well, so that story that I was bringing up there, that's been a while back now. I can't remember, dude. I've been doing outdoor, hunting videos and stuff for 21 years. I was sitting in Kansas, in a blind one afternoon, and my cameraman was Jared Lott. He's from over around Statesboro, Georgia, and great guy. We're just sitting there having a conversation. Hadn't been having a real good hunt. We'd seen a few deer, seen a few bucks, just nothing, just getting down. Actually, it was election day when Trump got elected the first term.
Oh, wow.
His first term.
So almost 10 years ago.
I remember that was that day.
Wow.
So we're sitting in a blind, and he asked me, he said, man, do you ever just get stressed out about having to try to shoot deer and having to do this and having to do that? And I said, man, you know what? Yeah, I do. And we went, I told some stories about times, just dealing with stuff, the industry, business, trying to do your own thing, trying to just make a path for yourself. And I said, man, I'm not doing it anymore. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not doing it anymore if I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
I said, if I think about a hunt and it stresses me out so bad, I'm just not going to do the hunt. I said, or if I get somewhere and I'm just that uncomfortable, that miserable with it, I'm not going to do it because I don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like one of them days when you don't want to go hunting and you get up and you go out there and everything's going against you. The weather's bad. I mean, you forget your release, you drop your flashlight. I mean, everything's just bad. And you just sit there and you just look, you're just like, I'm miserable right now. You know what? I'm just going to get down and go back to the truck, go home, start over. Just, you need a reset, right?
Yeah.
So that was my reset. And dude, I'm telling you right now, it wasn't 15 minutes later. And this buck's on my wall right over here. I got a skull over here. He walked out. I had a 6-point come in. This deer was, and I forgot, he's like a 10 or 11 point. I can't remember. Pope and young buck, not a giant, just an older, mature buck. Anyway, sees this 6-point. He comes in, he postures up, snort wheezes at the 6-point, pushes him off, stops broadside at like 21 yards, quartering away. And I mean, I hammer him. He runs 30, 40 yards out there, stops, Kansas wide open, tall grass. And he does a spin and he hits the ground. And me and Jared lost it, dude. Like, we were just like, can you believe after we're sitting here talking about just let it happen and have fun with it? That's what happens. That was my sign to say, hey, now you figured out your formula for yourself to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like in the hunting industry, especially, seeing, I'll just use Seek One as an example, right? They kill giants, right? And I wonder sometimes, because I'm buddies with Jay Maxwell, and we've talked about it a couple times about like the pressure you feel when you kind of break into the industry and you kill a couple good deer, and then people are kind of like, well, you know, like Lee killed that 212 in Ohio last year. I've talked with just local guys around here that bring it up, and they're like, I wonder what he's going to kill this year, if it's going to be bigger or not. And they're like, man, it better be bigger. And I'm like, dude, why do you care? I was like, the man he's killed 3 200s. He spent all year traveling thousands of miles to kill that one deer. Let it be. Like, not every single person in the hunting community or in the hunting industry needs to kill a giant every year to be like relevant, you know? But I feel like people fall into that.
I think you're spot on, man. Everybody kind of drinks that Kool-Aid and they feel like that's what they have to do because is it almost like it's you know, I guess your street cred's got to be built up that like, oh, I'm a big buck killer and I know how to do it better than the other guys or whatever. But I think we're getting away from that. I got some buddies that are that way. Like if I don't have a deer over 160, I'm not even going to go hunting. I mean that's how a lot of like some, and I'm not knocking it. That's just it's just their thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I go hunting because again, I'm having fun. I'm loving being out there, and I'd rather go sit in a stand. Me and you go sit together, and watch you shoot a deer if I can't even hunt. You know what I mean? Like that's to me that's still fun. You're experiencing that with somebody and having fun out there. But we get so caught up, and I think, like you said, some people set their bar so high they feel like that's where they got to stay.
Yeah.
Now, and again, I've been saying this a lot lately, so I feel like I've turned into like a jerk or something, but I don't like to brag about myself. I just tell stories and I'm a statistics guy.
Yeah.
So, I've got spreadsheets with everything I've ever shot, all my turkeys, all my deer. It's just a data set. And I started that at a young age just to keep up with patterns. So my thing was like, hey, if I'm working a full-time job and I can only take a week off, I need to know what the best week to take off is. So I started keeping up with, you know, Georgia, of course, where I grew up and hunted until I could, you know, travel. And so I kept up with it for that reason, to see patterns. So I kept up with all the stuff. And in the beginning, yeah, I think I just wanted to go travel different places I never thought I would be able to go. And I wanted to shoot deer. I didn't care. Like if I go to Nebraska and the guy says, hey, this is the size deer we have, then that's what my goal was.
Yeah.
Not oh, well, that's not big enough. You know what I mean? I'm going to go hunting and have fun and do that. And I mean, I've 30 shoulder mounts in here probably. And there's 3 200s, there's 170s, there's 80s, there's 60s, there's 20s, there's 10s, there's, I mean,
jeez. Okay.
What I'm saying, like, with all that being said, like, but again, I don't care.
Yeah.
In my whole life, I've had one deer ever officially scored, and the only reason I did that is my buddy, that's my taxidermist, not far from here. A guy was coming in, like a official score was coming in to score somebody else's deer, and I'd killed a nice buck that year. And he said, hey, will you score his deer while you're here? Because he's a buddy of mine. And he did. And I have that score sheet somewhere. But that's the only deer. Like all the rest of these is me or me and my buddies putting the tape on them and saying, hey, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care, dude. I got bucks right here this is a 115, 120 inch 8-point that I shot this past January down with Mike and Bonnie McFerrin, good friends of mine. And I shot it the first morning we went out hunting, and I don't care. Like that was fun. Like we had a good time. Then I got to go shoot some does after that and hogs. And I mean, hey, and then we can make great content out of all that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
See, we put on social media. Let me ask you this. Well, I'll tell everybody this a quote big buck hunter out there. You're not a turkey guy, but you'll understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody that passes up turkeys other than maybe Jake's? Does anybody look at that killer when he comes in and go, hold on, let me get my binoculars. Wait a second. His spurs aren't long enough. He looks like a 2-year-old. I'm going to give him 2 more years.
No, I've even argued with my buddy that turkey hunts. Like they all look the same to me. So how do you even know? So no, I don't.
And I'm going to South Dakota next week. If I kill a gobbler there, that'll be my 100th gobbler. Okay. And so with that being said, you are spot on. I can go here and I can show you all my turkey. I've got all my turkey beards and spurs that I've ever killed. Some beards are an inch longer. Some beards are a couple inches shorter. Some might be a little bit fatter. Spurs differentiate from 1 inch to, I did kill one that's got 1 3/4 inch spurs. But dude, we're talking inches. It's like going from a 155 to a 160.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference in the buck?
Not at all.
Turkeys, like you said, they look like turkeys, don't they? They look like
Yeah.
gobbers. And the fun is calling them in, let them do their thing, and shoot them. Deer are the same way, but we get hung up on how big they are,
Yeah.
how old they are.
Well, and you guys do a good job too. And that's why I've been, such a big fan of the show, is because it's not just like, all right. So I grew up on like bucks at Tecumate, real tree monster bucks and stuff like that. And as much as I love the whole, today we got Jimmy whatever over here in Texas, and he's
Yeah.
going after a nice buck, and then he shows the buck, and it's like, we're in this blind, and then it's over, and he's like, there it is. That's great. I love that. But when you actually get the stuff you can relate to, like y'all's stuff, like the hunting public, like Seek One, all of that, that to me, especially now, is way more relatable. Like
Yeah. I agree,
it's not
man.
just chasing antlers. It's not just, it's about the hunt.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think you hit it spot on, man. I mean, well, going down a little bit of a wormhole there, the way we're consuming the hunting products now, not physical guns and bows products, but like the stuff that we watch, the content, the way we consume content has changed so much. I'm not saying that like people like my dad, he's still going to watch Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel on Dish Network or whatever. I don't even have any of that, dude. I don't even watch TV, to be honest with you. I binge watch stuff on Netflix and Hulu and whatever. I find a series I like, and that stimulates my brain. I watch hunting, don't get me wrong. I mean, I got MOTV and Hunt Channel and Pursuit Up, all this on my TV out here, and I just let it play during the day. And then I'm a big music guy, so I just listen to music a lot. But with all that being said, the Seek Ones of the world, the hunting public, I mean, they changed the way we're consuming that hunting, content. And I admire those guys for it. I mean, they're a lot younger than I am. I guess they are. I don't even know how old they all are, but they are younger than me. But with that being said, I'm a little bit jealous because it goes one thing like, why didn't I think of that? Because I was on YouTube at the same time as them, but I was too busy being caught up, and we have to do television production for network that we're just out there. And don't get me wrong, I'm thankful for all the followers we got, and we get millions and millions of views every year on our stuff. But the dynamic has changed. But I like it because I think our future generations are going to be able to see that content unless, the what do you want to call them? The establishments throttle what we can show, what we can't show, because I battle that every week too on getting flagged for posts of dead stuff and whatever.
Keeping it PC.
I mean, but hopefully we can continue to show what we do and promote the outdoors that way, but have an educational piece out there. And I've hunted public land, deer, antelope, turkeys. I've hunted a bunch of public land on different, I say a bunch, several times over the years, and had some success there. I would say that's probably one of the hardest things in the state of Georgia is to hunt public land. Like oh man, I mean, it's scary.
It's rough. It's so rough, man. Oh, I had 2 cameras out last year that got stolen in my little honey hole. Yeah. And so I decided this year, like you were saying earlier about not, cameras are cool, but it kind of takes it away. I'm not running cameras this year. Now, granted, I've walked pretty much the entire property, so I kind of know like the movement and stuff. But even that, I was telling a buddy of mine today who's wanting to get really heavy into public land hunting. And he's like, man, I just want to meet someone that knows, what to look for, how to do this, how to do that. I'm like, well, wait till July because I got some stuff coming for that. But it's not easy. I was like, you need boots on the ground. You need time out there. Really, when I go to public land, I'm like, if I see something I want to shoot, I'm going to shoot it. Yeah. And granted, I have the biggest deer I've ever seen on the hoof I saw in public land. And I was very new to bow hunting and completely botched it. But still, they're there. It's just, it's way harder. Especially in Georgia for us because we can bait. Public land, you can't. Yeah. So, if you get so used to the baiting aspect, which doesn't make it easier, it's just a different way of doing it. And then you go to public land, it almost feels impossible. And I know it's not, but
I mean, I got mad respect for the guys, and I get hate all the time because I sit in a food plot with a feeder and a blind with a rifle. Hey, I'm having fun, so I really don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
But they're like, come hunt public land. And I'm like, I don't
I
have
have.
to. I have, and I don't have to go back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I put in my sweat, blood, and tears, man. I
yeah.
don't need to go back to that.
And that's, it goes back to the hate, man, amongst hunters. They hate on the guys that have the means to have and I'm not saying I got a ton of money by any means. I work my butt off and I save every year just to have my hunting lease. And I've got blessed to have a family farm that I can hunt, and
Yeah.
I've got great friends that let me go hunting too. Because we all are having fun together. See, I keep going back to this having fun thing. Like,
I
if
think
you
that's
have
the most
fun,
important part.
yeah, if you have fun with your buddies, like, good things happen down the road for you. I'm just
Mhm.
saying, don't be that guy. Don't bash your buddy's deer, because then you can't hunt my place when I buy my farm in 5 years.
Yep.
If you don't know what I'm going to do. So anyway, with all that being said, I got mad respect for those guys that can go out there and get it done. Public land in Kansas is way different than public land in Georgia. Illinois, I mean, you
Very
pick a
flattering.
state. I mean, it's apples and oranges, man. So that's where people coming at me or you or whatever for the way we hunt in Georgia versus other states. It's just not fair. And
Yeah.
I don't go at anybody anyway unless they kind of want to start it, and then I'll just finish it. But
Yeah. I mean, that's, Jesus said, if someone strikes you on your cheek, show them the other. So
yeah.
that's I try to live by that, dude. I tell my daughter that all the time, and she's such a firecracker. She's like, no, he did this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna throw a rock at him. And I'm like, don't do that, because then I gotta step in.
Did you play sports a lot growing up?
I did, yeah.
So I played baseball. I was a pitcher for a long time. One thing that I learned through sports, I mean, I played several different sports, but especially in baseball and being a pitcher, you have to be mentally tough.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have trash talk. You're going to have, you're going to have bad days.
Yeah.
And just you and that ball out there. I mean, yeah, you got your team behind you, but you still got to put things in motion. So I learned through that, especially now in the world we live in, like, you just got to be mentally tough, be better than you can't let anything get inside your head.
Yep.
And it's hard for a kid not to do that, especially playing sports,
Yeah.
And I had a rough time with it growing up too, until I could learn to harness my emotions. But that's my best advice for anybody out there that's listening to this. And post what you want to post, shoot what you want to shoot, have your fun, and don't give a crap about. I don't care if my daggum family comments on my posts about how small my deer is. I'm gonna be like, it don't matter to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything to anybody but myself.
So you're saying you're not going to comment back? You're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to see you at the reunion. You just wait. All right, I know what you said. You're not going to.
I'm going to say good luck getting in the gate.
Nice. I like it. I mean, you're right though, man. Like, so the buck back here is my biggest deer. He's a 102, and he was my first archery deer ever. Right.
Okay.
Super proud of him. And there's two things that went along with it. The neighbor helped me recover him. And it was kind of, I said this on a podcast a while ago, but it kind of goes into what we're talking about. And I walk up and I'm like shaking, right? Like I couldn't believe it happened. Like you were saying earlier, those days you go in and just nothing goes right. Dude, I had my hunting clothes from the week before. I never washed them. Completely forgot. They still stunk. I think I used a full can of nose jammer and still could smell myself. Saw a deer, she spooked, and then I'm just sitting there praying, like, please just send something. And I look down and I see these two bucks that I wanted to shoot come walking up, and it all worked out, right? I walk up to this deer after he finds it, and the first thing he says is, "Man, you should have gave him another year. He's only about 2.5." Now, mind you, I don't know, right? But instantly that kind of cut me down a size, because I'm like, dude, what? Why you gotta say that? Like, I'm hyped on this. So got through that, whatever. Posted a photo of it. Same thing. People commenting like, man, look, you should have given him time. He's got 3 brow tines on this side. In 3 years, he would have been something. And I'm like, no, he's something now.
Exactly. He's something now.
Yeah. And it bums me out when I see that, because it's like,
and also you got to think about this too, man. Not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But your deer there, yeah, he in 3 years, if he would have still alive,
yeah,
he might have been a giant. Who knows? We don't know that. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? Nobody cares. That's just the people that didn't shoot a deer that day comment on your deer.
Yeah.
But you don't know that. I mean, you that may have been the only encounter you ever had with that buck.
Yeah.
People don't realize, not a lot of us. And I don't, and even on the properties I got one tract that's 1,000 acres. That's the biggest one contiguous tract of property that I have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And it is and we have deer that do stay there that I can say, okay, if we don't shoot this guy, there's a good chance he'll be here next year.
Yeah.
We've been successful with some of that, but we've lost a bunch of big deer to the neighbors on 1,000 acres. So the guys that are sitting there on 100 acres and you shoot, I don't give a crap if you shoot a year and a half old 4-point, if that's what you want to do and that's legal on in your state, go for it, because you may not see that deer again, especially a 4-point if that's what you want to shoot, because that dumb thing, he might chase a doe off 6 properties around because he don't know any better and get smoked by somebody else. So I'm not saying shoot a deer just to shoot it. I'm saying if it makes you happy and you get excited and you get that rush and you're going to be proud of it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, and you run the risk too. Like, I forget who I talked about this with, but somebody said or gave me a very good example where you could have a kid who, say it's their first year hunting, right? And they kill a spike and they post it on Facebook because they're hyped. They're like, oh, I love this. This is great. I'm going to share it with everybody. And they happen to have joined a group, like, one of the Georgia hunting groups that we have. And someone comments on that, man, why'd you shoot a spike? That thing, it's super small and it ruins them. Because now he's like, well, I was happy about this, but are other people not happy?
I don't even want to go now.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I don't care. My only thing is if somebody shoots a fawn that still has spots, then I'm kind of like, did you have to do that?
Hey, man, that's some tender meat, bro.
I know that's the argument. I'm like,
I'm just saying
yeah. Yeah, pick a spot and shoot at it. I don't judge them, but I do kind of grimace a bit.
I get it. I mean, I was actually had a guy on Facebook yesterday, a buddy of mine that I took turkey hunting last year. He, well, it was a hunt from last season, 2024 season. He killed his first turkey in 2023.
Yeah.
And so he had hunted with me opening weekend and he missed one. He's right by himself. Like, it was his first time turkey hunting by himself. Got lucky, called this gobbler in, and he went to shoot, and his gun hit his little stake blind, and it was just a cluster, right? It went crazy. So the turkey gets away, and I'd already killed 2 that first 2 days of the season. My dad killed 2 first 2 days of the season. So Dad and I are like, man, you can't even kill a turkey, just having fun with him. He's like, man, he's like, can we go Monday and you go help me, like, call for me. And I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, I got a spot. I said, there's 2 gobblers been in this spot. I mean, like, religiously. I said, I know they're going to be roosted down in this bottom. We can go work them. They're probably going to come into this food plot if we just go in there and I'll call them. So we go in there. Long story short, work these birds in. Probably some of the best turkey footage that I've gotten ever. And some of that you might have seen on Instagram. It's just like turkey just sitting there gobbling. He's like 40 yards. We got slow-mo gobbling. I mean, it's just sick footage. And then turkey comes in and he shoots him. And it ended up being a double beard. So, which is, that's a trophy in itself. And he was super excited. And we were sitting in a pop-up blind because a lot of spots that we have, especially on food plots, we hunt in the afternoons, and our birds don't really gobble a lot in afternoons. So we just kind of have to go set up and deer hunt them a little bit. We'll put decoys out and call and, try to get them fired up and work in. Well, we're just sitting in this blind. And plus, there was nowhere else to hide me and him and a camera guy anyway. So that's what we wanted to do and have fun doing it. Be comfortable if we were going to be there. So we're sitting in there. He kills his turkey, and I post the video, or I say I did. My team did. It's been a few weeks ago. Sitting in a blind like that, but we were cutting up with each other because he forgot his gloves and his face mask, and I was like, "Man, you ain't even a turkey hunter if you don't use a face mask." I'm just being that guy, being funny about it, and we're laughing and cutting up. But somebody genuinely commented on there yesterday. You basically you suck as a turkey hunter because you sit in a blind and you know what I mean? It's like, first off, why do you need to do that? And then this guy, he comments, he's like, I'll never use a decoy. I never use a fan. I never sit in a blind. I just sit me and my gun and I go kill turkeys. Good.
Yeah.
I'm
Congratulations.
happy for you, man. Yeah, great job. Here, this is that guy's clap. I forgot his name.
Give me your address. I'll send you a cookie.
Exactly, man. But I said, well, man, you can be that guy if you want to. Your negativity is gonna deter other people, and you're bashing other hunters, and Lord knows we don't need to do that, but we're the worst of the worst amongst each other,
Yeah.
like we've talked about. And then I left it at that, and then he commented back like, "Yeah, I'll stay on my high horse. Same things if somebody shoots a Jake. I mean, that's just uncalled for." I'm like, it's a legal turkey, man. If it's a legal turkey,
Yeah, I'd probably be one to do that because I wouldn't know any better.
you know what I mean? But who cares? Guess what?
Yeah.
You shot you a turkey. You went out there and you learned something being there. You learn how to hunt better
Yeah.
and pull that off. But you're going to be that guy and go put a divider between people with your negativity. And just like you said, you may say that to a little kid. This kid just smoked his first turkey as a Jake, and he's on cloud 12. And then you're going to be like, "Oh, nobody shoots Jakes. That's crap." And now this kid doesn't want to hunt anymore. So you'd rather be that guy than just be like, "Man, good job. I'm proud of you, man. Next time, get you a long beard. That'd be awesome."
Yeah. I don't know, man. I could stay on this topic the entire podcast because it
We
just
should
makes me
probably
so
change the
mad,
topic.
dude. It
Yeah.
just it makes me so mad because, like, especially doing this podcast and like actually being able to work in the industry a little bit now and seeing like how the outside is compared to the inside.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of the people in the industry, I could like Waddell, I could send Waddell a photo of a spike. Like, hey man, first buck I've killed in 3 years. And I know he would text me back, like, good job, buddy. I could send it to
Yeah.
someone else or post it or something, and I'm getting nothing but negative stuff. And it's just unhappy people. And I feel for them. I do. It's like, I'm sorry that, something's going on in your life that you're not happy with. Maybe go to church a little more. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just sucks. But so I want to ask you about this. I just thought of it. The hunting industry itself and the TV side of stuff, how much has that changed since you started? Like, what's some of the biggest things you've seen from when you first started to now, aside from the YouTube stuff?
Well, that's been probably the biggest evolution is how everybody consumes what we do. But
Yeah.
Man, the industry as a whole has changed so much because really when we started, it was really everybody knows everybody. And I'm not saying it's still not that way a good bit. Everybody knows. But with that being said, it got really corporate really quick. I guess, these corporate entities saw that, hey, Will Primos is making a pretty good clip of money over here selling turkey calls and deer calls and
Yeah.
all this stuff. We want to go buy Primos. And so then, of course, Will sells Primos, gets him a good paycheck because he built this company. I mean, why not? That's what he wants to do. And then they get in there and go, man, we thought we could take and I don't know these numbers, I'm just throwing stuff against the wall, but say a $5 million company, and we're going to turn that into a $20 million company. And then they realize you can't do that. And so now we've got this corporate entities just devouring the hunting industry. And it's bad, man. It's bad. And current times right now with old Trump's pissing match with China over the tariffs and stuff, it's gonna if it does not play out fairly, we're gonna see this in the hunting industry because people don't realize how much stuff in our world, but mainly especially in the hunting industry, comes from China. It's be really, really bad.
I've been seeing it a lot. Like I've heard some stuff on tariffs just in general day things.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to some guy and, the people that know me, it's a bad habit, but me and my wife vape. You've seen me hitting it this whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to kick it. That's a whole rabbit hole I'm not going down. But
yeah. Go ahead and quit. As your mentor, quit. Okay, no.
Okay, got it. I'll clip that, and every morning when I wake up, I will listen and be like, okay, got it, Mike. Got it.
Yep, there's it. Do it.
But I was at the store the other day trying to buy new ones, and the one flavor, of course, she's the one that she likes the most is the one that everybody else likes, right? It's the hardest to find. And so I know the guy that owns the convenience store. It's in Social Circle in a small town, and I'm like, hey man, you got any extras of these in the back? He goes, nah, man, these tariffs, they say they're sending them, but we're not seeing them. And I'm like, God, dude, I mean, I hear about it, but that's like a small example of just stuff that I'm seeing it happen with. And I've heard people talk about, tariffs in the hunting industry and how it's going to affect everyone. Because a lot of like our arrows, most of them are not built or made in America. And it's like, well, what's going to happen then? Because I don't know how to make a wood arrow. And I don't think a wood arrow is going to fly to that prime. So what am I going to do?
You better have a stiff spine, buddy. You better do a sequoia arrow or something.
I'll go get a cedar and just
Yeah.
make it as strong as I can. But
40-inch arrow, right?
yeah, I mean, it just is. It's
Yeah.
something I've seen, and I've only been in this for 3 years now.
Yeah. And
So
that's been the biggest change to me, is just to see how corporate this thing has gotten. And how just marketing minds have changed so much. And I get it. You're adapting with technology, and we want
yeah,
to try new stuff and do new stuff and reach new people through different mediums. And I'm all for that. That's how I've been able to be around this long. And what we do is to adapt. Like Facebook's a good example. Facebook's probably the oldest demographic of social media now, but that
yeah,
was one that took off the fastest for the hunting industry. And then you got, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Now you got TikTok, you got Snapchat. I mean, and we're putting stuff on all those platforms now because we want to reach all these audiences. We want to reach all these age demographics and all these locations, dude. We got people all over the world that watch our stuff. So,
yeah.
and I mean, and that's fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's just, more haters that we get from different countries. But hey, I'm used to that too.
At least they're watching.
Exactly.
That's
Thank
the
you.
important thing.
That's one view we got right there.
Yep.
But with that being said, I don't know, man. It's turning into it's a slippery slope because we've gotten real comfortable in things. We've gotten so dependent upon so many things. And like TSS. That's what a lot of guys shoot,
Yeah.
waterfowl and turkeys with, the actual ammo, the pellets in the ammo.
Mhm.
For everybody out there, never heard of TSS, and I hadn't until a few years ago.
Yeah.
But all that's been done in China, all of it. And there's one guy that owns the process of making. I say, and I'm saying this with my knowledge base. And I'm not saying there's not other people that know more than this about me, so I'm throwing that out there. But from
Yeah.
what I heard, there's like one main guy that brings all the TSS into the world, basically.
Mm.
And it's all been done in China, the processing and all this stuff. Well, my phone calls I had a few weeks ago with some guys that know this guy, blah, blah, blah. Like, this guy's shopping all over the world now to do it somewhere else. So I'm just telling you, right? If not, like our ammo prices, this TSS, for example, it would go, you couldn't even afford it. Like, you couldn't, we're going back to shooting old number 4 lead shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going that way if it doesn't get figured out. Like, it's gonna come when, like, there's supplies now that get you so far. But it's like COVID crap, man. I'm telling you, it's like during COVID, how everything skyrocketed here and there. These tariffs could do that on some things. Not to get on politics, but I understand the method that's going on. I understand the process of why this is all happening.
Yeah.
Because we want to be more independent as a country. We want to bring money back in. We want to make money off of other countries instead of just giving it all away.
Mhm.
We want to run this thing as a business. I'm all for that. Do I agree with some of the execution and methodologies? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of people that are way smarter than me that make way more money than me to do that job. And me, you just get to sit here and do a podcast and talk about it.
Yep. Complain and
So,
that's all we can do.
right. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
we
I
still
mean,
gotta get up and do our thing tomorrow,
dude, I've noticed the thing, because I've been able to vote since 2016. That was the first time I was able to vote. And I really didn't understand what I was getting into, paying attention to politics. For the past 3 elections, every single year, I would just dive headfirst into it. Like Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles. I'd even listen to some of the CNN stuff just so I can understand like what they're saying, right?
Both
just
sides.
so I know both sides.
Yeah.
And this time, man, it's like it was too much. It was just way too much. And I'm because none of it was positive. And some of it was, but now it's like, I scroll through TikTok and I see, people talking about it. And I'm just like, dude, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it. As long as I can feed my family, go hunt, and Jesus is still my Lord, I don't care about any of it.
Well,
Like,
at the end of the day, I tell people this all the time. Guys like you and me, I think we're cut off from the same cloth. I think there's a lot more of us than the world even realizes. Number one. But we just really basically want to provide for our families. We want to be able to hunt and fish, enjoy the outdoors, go to the beach, go play golf, whatever our hobbies are.
Yeah.
We want to be able to enjoy the world, the earth that God put us here on and all his creation. And we want to be left alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll pay our way.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah.
We'll help our brothers out and do things. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to live our life, enjoy what we're put here for, and be left alone by the government and other countries and whatever. Yes, I know there's layers of protection that have to ensure that that happens. And thank God for our military and people that go and put their lives on the line. I've hunted with guys that have been blown up and sacrificed the nth degree so that we have these liberties and freedoms. But they also need to the country needs to remember the guys like you and me and those guys that I was just talking about that ain't scared to grab one of these things that's in this case behind me and go do something with it if we have to. They're the reason that they can live in an apartment in New York and have electric cars and
Yeah.
I'm
Drive
just
those
saying,
little electric scooters down the sidewalk in Atlanta.
hey, look, you do you, man. If
Oh, yeah.
that makes you happy and you're not bothering anybody, hey, go for it. I have no problem with anybody.
Yeah,
Whatever you wanna do. But
I don't know. I tell people all the time, especially, at work, because I do fire and life safety throughout the whole state. So I'm seeing multiple different types of people every day. And this comes up a lot. And I just tell them, like, you know what? Jesus just needs to come back already. Honestly, like I'm at that point now. I'm like, I'm going to do what I need to do. And you don't bother me. I won't bother you. We're all good. And I look up every day and I'm like, is it time yet, Lord? And nope, it hadn't happened yet. But yeah, man, I just, I know that, you've cemented yourself in the industry, and I like to hear what it was like, because I'm only 30 years old and I have only been hunting now for 6 years. Now I watched it when I was a kid, but I didn't grow up in a hunting family. So it was very difficult to figure out how to do it. And just hearing what it was like, at I don't want to say the beginning of the hunting TV side of things.
Because I wasn't there in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, the time that I've been around, what the change has been, and it's crazy. I mean, I've heard stories, and I'm sure you've heard these too, but I've heard stories of big time stuff back in the day where, they would be like, yeah, we killed this 190-inch deer on public, and they'd show them around and stuff. And it was in a high fence. I mean, stuff like that bothers me. And it's like, I don't think anyone's doing that these days.
Oh, dude, there's smoke mirrors everywhere, man. I'll go ahead and tell you. And look, I'm not dogging anybody. It goes back to what we talked about earlier, the pressure of like performance.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I got this company, man. I'm afraid I'm going to lose this company if I don't kill a big deer with a bow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that weighs on people. And I get it, man. I've been there, and I haven't. I'm not saying I've been there, done that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah.
But I felt the pressure, but you just got to be honest about it. Like, you got to be honest. You got to be real. If you're going to hunt a high fence, just say, "Hey, look, we're hunting a high fence."
Yeah.
If you say it, nobody's going to care.
Oh yeah.
But then if you don't say it, and then it's obvious. Because I've hunted high fence before. I'll be the first one to tell you. Me and Brantley Gilbert went on like high fence palooza for a little while, man.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I started figuring out who Brantley was. And then I realized he was a Georgia boy. And I remember one time going on YouTube and just typing in Brantley Gilbert, and one of y'all's videos popped up. Dude, that's how I found you guys. The very first time was because of BG. And that was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen. I was like, you know what? I like these guys.
That's awesome.
They got some good taste in going hunting with people. And so I just want to let you know that that's awesome. I was so hyped on that. Brantley is salt of the earth. I mean, that's
good dude.
That dude is great. But anyway, sorry, I had to cut you off.
No, it's fine, man. Like that's like what and it's going back to what we were talking about, people hating on it. I remember Brantley actually shot his first buck ever with me on our family farm. So that's been, oh gosh, 15 years ago almost, probably. So we'd hunted together a couple times at my farm before that, and this is back when he had a lot of demons going on with drinking and pills and stuff that he thank God he's out of that. I hadn't done that in a long time. At least 10 years or more.
Yeah.
But with all
I remember hearing those stories, man.
It was pretty rough, man. It was pretty rough. But we got to be friends through the outdoors, and then of course he went through his little dark time there and got through that. And we stayed buddies through that. And I think, you learn who sticks by your side when you go through your darkest times.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we still our love language for being brothers has been hunting. That we don't talk about music hardly. We don't talk about nothing but hunting. And we went to Ohio one time, and he finds out, hey man, we're going to go on a hunting trip. I'm like, whatever you want to do, man. He said, we're going to get on the bus. We're going to go to Ohio, and we go to this high fence place. And I'm like, okay, that's what you want to do, buddy. I've told him before. I said, if you want to burn the farm down, I'll hold the gas can. you know. So we go and do this, and he kills like a 250-inch buck. Like, I mean, obvious high fence, giant deer. And he was so proud, man. Like I remember we were sitting there. He probably won't even remember this. But we were sitting there, and he was looking at that deer, and we were waiting on the guys to go get the truck or side by side, whatever, and come back and get us. And he looked at me and he said, man, I never thought I'd be able to do this. I said, what, kill a big deer? He's like, no. He said, I never thought I'd be able to afford to come to a place like this where I can shoot whatever deer I want to. And that wasn't that was a testament to his hard work and making it in his career path. But also, he was so proud of that deer. It didn't matter. The fence didn't make a crap. Yes, that's how he killed a 250-inch deer. But at the end of the day, it goes back that was that moment where, man, this is what I've worked hard for on some level. And I'm not saying, we didn't stalk this deer for 20 miles and up mountains and all this stuff. We're not shot a deer, but he worked hard in his career path to be able to get to a point where he could do that and then share it with your friends on top of that and have fun. Here we go.
Well, like the high fence stuff, dude, I used to have a problem with it. And then Kurt actually changed my mind because he was talking about on some episode about how, like, if you're just honest about it, dude, I think some of the high fence deer are some of the coolest deer I've ever seen. Now, when their heads are like this and they're 2 years old, then I'm like,
there's some bad stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit much, but I have no problem with it. I think it's awesome.
I'll say this about it. And Kurt's one told me this too. He had Jimmy John on the podcast. And Jimmy John said he hunts high fences, and dudes, he's got more money than all of us will probably ever think about having. And he does what he wants to do. He said, you got to think of high fence deer like pieces of art. You want to buy a piece of art to hang on your wall. Okay, fair enough. And I respect that. And I get where he's coming from with it. But I've also being that I have hunted high fences before. I've been to one in Texas I went to years and years ago. Dude, I saw like 3 deer. And I'm sitting there, and it's an afternoon hunt, and this buck walks out. And it's I got it, his rack somewhere in here. It's a basket rack 8-point. Like this.
Yeah, like 80 inches.
Yeah. He comes out there to a feeder, food plot feeder, whatever. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I took a video and I took a picture on the screen. I sent it to the landowner. He said, kill that deer. I said, are you sure? He said, that deer's 5.5 years old. Kill him.
What?
I shot him. Sack of taters went right down.
5.5, and he's that small?
I saw 2 bucks the whole time I was there. That was one of them. And he said, dude, he said, I've been trying to kill that deer for 2 years.
How big was the property?
Oh, it was
thousands.
Yeah, it was several thousand acres.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Just because you hear high fence, mean it's this go pick out what you want to kill. Like, that one looks pretty. Let me shoot that one. Don't get me wrong. There are places that are like that, and I will partake in any of that. I'll go ahead and tell you that. I've been there and seen that, and I'm like,
it's like
my thing. So it's all and for every one of the stories, like I just told about shooting this 5-year-old deer, there's 20 that goes the other way. That's terrible stories about. Oh yeah, I was rode out on the golf cart and I picked out what 170-inch deer I want and shot him off the golf cart. Yeah. So, but I've been to several places. Well, I've never been to a place like that where you just ride out there and pick wood. I haven't been to that. Yeah. But I've been to a lot of places where, especially trying to bow hunt, bro, the daggum deer are crazier than these Georgia deer we got. Really? Oh, dude, you can't move. Like those does in there in in the places I've been on, some they're so old and they've seen so many hunters come and go. Like they walk out right at the stand and go, yeah, go ahead and try me. Try to draw back. You just turn your shoulder, y'all blow the whole thing. Wow. And that happens a lot more than people think. But I've also been to free range places. That would blow your mind at how easy it was. Huh. I mean, hundreds. I've been to some places where I've seen over $100 in 3 days.
On free range?
Free range deer.
All right, look, after this, you need to send me that location.
That's
Because I've been in a drought for 3 years. No, that's nuts. I mean, so when you say free range, you're talking about like what, public land or permission piece or a lease?
no, I mean, yeah, this is all lease property, private lease.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. It's
That's wild.
free,
I mean,
free range deer that are like high fences ain't even close to easy as that one.
yeah, I mean, that does kind of blow my mind a bit because I mean, I've got a buddy whose uncle owns like a high fence. I mean, he doesn't usually let people hunt. I think sometimes he'll let buddies and stuff come in there, but he and I have talked about it, and it's like you get this idea that a high fence is just a pet, that you just go in there. And this is a general idea, not what I'm thinking.
No,
but
no, you're right. I mean, you're not wrong at all. That's
yeah,
what they think can hunt, rattle the feed bucket, hand fed, got a ear tag collars and all this stuff.
yeah, you don't even need a bow. You just take your arrow and right in the side, and there you go.
And I'm not saying there's not places that are probably like that have deer that are quote tame almost, that they've been bottle fed. And even Brantley, he had his high fence in Alabama. And we shot some deer in there, but we always, like, our thing was we knew what deer were what deer as far as what deer were put in there and what deer were native deer that were caught in there. I mean, you could tell when they walked out in the fields who was who. And but he did it right though. He did it where, I mean, it was a hunt. You're going to see deer, but you had to hunt. Like
you actually had to try.
There wasn't any deer just going to stand there and let you walk out in the field because Brantley would just kill him. He's like, I don't have deer. He's the one that's a liability. You get a buck, and then during the rut that ain't afraid of anybody, he'll charge somebody and kill him.
Yeah.
And so he was like, screw this. We're gonna,
I could see Brantley being that guy just shooting because he wanted to.
Oh yeah, that
I feel like
gunpowder.
Yeah, he might have gotten really successful. He's still got that Georgia boy in him for sure.
We hunted, like, he's gotten into the duck thing, so inadvertently, or I can't point on this thing. Inadvertently, he's got me into the duck thing. So yeah, we started duck hunting the last couple years together. So now I'm having fun with that. But so I guess I got him down the deer hunting wormhole. Now he's getting me back in. Well, I used to duck hunt a little bit, but now he's got really into the duck hunting. Like, we're going to camp.
I got a buddy named Thor that I hope he listens to this. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and tell him that we talked about it, because he's a big duck hunter, and he and I were arguing back and forth. Like I was saying earlier, deer are my thing. I'm very, very just obsessed with deer. Ducks is, duck hunting's cool to me, but it's kind of the same thing as turkeys, right? He's the opposite. He likes deer. He'll deer hunt, but he told me, he's like, man, let me take you duck hunting just one time. He's like, it'll change your life. You won't care about those deer anymore. So you are living proof that you can duck hunt and deer hunt and still love both of them. So I'm gonna give him a shout out for that. Because
I will say that I went to Canada last year. Took my wife with me too, and she duck hunted. We duck and geese. I kind of like the geese thing, man, because that's like shooting a flying turkey. So, and I've done that before too, by the way. I have shot a turkey flying one time. That was a whole nother story. I mean, look, man, I've
you've done it.
I've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all legal, but I'm just saying, some people would like, well, that's not really ethical to shoot a flying turkey. I was like, well, I shoot flying quail and flying doves, flying ducks and geese. A turkey's a bird. So here we are.
Why isn't that ethical? I think if anything, that's probably harder, which makes it more fun.
It is harder. Actually, there's some video on YouTube. I did it. It's been a long time ago. I was actually the first Merriams I killed. It was in Nebraska. I shot him. It was under
off the ground.
We walked over this ridge where we saw these turkeys go. We're just trying to glass them, and it was a hen and two gobblers, and they got under this cedar in the shade because it was like 90 degrees that day, and we topped the hill. They started running, so I mean, I bushwhacked him, and I mean, he started flying, and I shot him like a dove, well, like a flat tire rolling across that hill. So cool. Well, I mean, hey, rednecks do what rednecks do.
Hey, my dad
was with me. And to this day, my dad he said that is the best turkey hunt shot I've ever seen of any, and will ever see. He's like,
I mean, it makes sense, dude. Like, the turkey's flying away and you knock him out the sky. I think that's, to me, if someone said, yeah, he flew away, I took him out, I'd be like, dude, that's That's awesome.
But
Rather than
it's the guys that like, oh man, you have to call him in with no decoy, no blind, and shoot him at 20 steps when he comes out of strut and gobbles 3 times. I mean, whatever, man.
look, you killed him, right?
He did.
That's
He's
all that
actually
matters.
right over there with my first slam turkeys over there.
That's so sick, man. Yeah, that dude, I don't know. The whole it kind of makes me think of like the saddle hunting group. And I'm not trying to knock them. You know, I don't hunt out of a saddle, but everyone's got their little quirks. I mean, even the arrow stuff, dude. Like I had Troy Fowler on here, then Tim Gillingham. We did a whole arrow series last year. And we ended it with T-Bone. And I did that specifically intentionally because T-Bone's the most grounded one out of everyone when it comes down to arrow builds. And he even says, he's like, if it works for you, use it. I feel like there's a specific, weight range for people, but that doesn't mean it's true. If you like it, use it. It doesn't matter. And I feel like that's how everyone needs to be with hunting. It's circling back to what we talked about earlier. It's just, I don't know, man. I didn't mean for this episode to turn into that, but it kind of did. So
Sorry.
I apologize. But man, dude, that's so awesome. So what's next for Backwoods Life? I mean, what do you guys have any big trips plans, for this year? Y'all going to Alaska? You gonna kill some caribou? Got any moose hunts coming up? Anything like that?
Nope. Just normal deer hunting stuff, I guess. You'll finish up turkey season. I'm starting to work on fall stuff. Yeah, we usually go out to Texas, do a mule deer hunt, whitetail hunt out there. I did not draw Kansas. We may get back to Wisconsin this year. We didn't go last year, hurricane time, and then the land up there got messed up with wolves and stuff. So it's been a mess up there on that kind of stuff. Kentucky, we're gonna hit Kentucky, then be here in Georgia too. So I don't know. We're just gonna go see what we can get into and punch some tags, I hope.
Heck yeah, dude. How is the mule deer hunting out in Texas? Because I didn't even know muleys were in Texas till like 6 months ago.
It's one of them where I hope everybody doesn't figure it out because they're not giants. They're not like Colorado or New Mexico or with the Alberta
Utah or anything like that.
They're huge bodies like everywhere else, but their antlers just aren't as big. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's genetics or agriculture is not quite the same or whatever. But I mean, I did kill one a couple years ago. It was 185, so that was a hammer
big buck.
That's the biggest one we've ever killed out there. Everything else, we shot some 70s, 60s, just good, solid, respectable mule deer, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a rifle hunt for the most part, and we do some long range stuff out there, 300, 400 yards, and just have fun.
You made me think of it earlier. I'm glad that you said that. I just remembered. I was talking to a guy at the PSE booth at TAC this weekend. He was on a hunt with one of his buddies. His buddy made 1,000-yard shot in, I think it was Arizona, on a cruise deer. Craziest thing I've ever seen. Because he has the video, right? And you don't see anything. And then it zooms in and you can see this buck. And you just see the arc of the bullet come in and it's just right into him. And I just looked at him like, dude, I'm lucky if I hit someone at 100 yards with a 7-mag or a 308. How did you even do that? He's like, dude, he's got a $20,000-$30,000 gun. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a whole nother thing I don't know nothing about.
Dude, I got into it a few years ago. We worked with McWhorter Rifles out of Dover, Georgia, and we went to their shooting school. And that's what you do at that shooting school. You learn to shoot 1,000 yards. And so you start at like 200, you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000, you walk it out. And by the end of the first day, I think I hit it 5 times. I hit 4 times. I hit a 5-inch target at 1,000 yards. And then one time I hit a 2.5-inch target at 1,000 yards. And they're calling the wind. You're dialing up the scopes and all this. They teach you how to do everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, can I go out there and do it tomorrow? No, because I need somebody like one of them telling me my windage to hold over and all that. But out to 500 yards, I'll go shoot something right now. And we even went out there on that mule deer hunt. While we were out there, I think I shot a doe at 483. That's the longest thing I've ever shot. But my buddy Rick with my gun, he shot an Aoudad at 700 and I think it was 734 or something like that.
Good Lord,
We
man.
called the wind, and it's the same thing on that. You can see the vapor trail of the bullet. You can see it just drop right in the shoulder.
Dude.
It's pretty
See, I'm
wild.
not a big gun hunter. I did it like when I first started, and then I got into bow hunting, so that's been my thing. But I love watching those videos. It's the same thing as when you watch an arrow at 100 yards and you see it go up and then arc down and hit where you're aiming.
Yep.
Because I, again, never knew that was a thing. And then I'm
Yeah.
seeing these
It's
videos
so
of
much
these long
fun,
range
man.
shots.
It's so much fun.
It's wild, man.
It's one of those things like it's literally like you said, it's like shooting a bow at 100 yards and knowing you can do it. And I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not saying I don't think I would ever have a scenario where I would ever shoot at a deer at 100 yards with a bow.
No.
Maybe an elk, maybe that's a big maybe. But same thing with a rifle. I'm probably never going to shoot at a deer at 1,000 yards with it, but I like to know that I can. I like that I have the skill set to hit my target at that range, just like with a bow. And again, if you practice at 500, 600, 800, 1,000 with a rifle, and you practice at 100 with a bow, that 200 yard, that 20 yard with a bow is piece of cake.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what it's all about. It's training and then having a skill set.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, TAC was good training. We had, I think that I actually got humbled pretty bad. Like I've had this bow for a week, got it set up and everything within 2 days, put on the new dialed proof sight, and then just sighted it in and was like, all right, I'm going. Right. So we get there and we're there for like 4 hours. We got there way too early. So we're practicing. First shot, cold shot, 57 yards, hit it like that. Right. So I got on the range and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm not going to miss anything. I lost 3 arrows. Shot 110 yards, hit the ram in the foot, hit behind the ram in the dirt, and then I don't know what happened, but I drew back and the bow was like, you know what, I'm going to go now about halfway through and just sent the arrow off into the next county. But doing that, the reason I bring that up is it goes to the training because like those long range shots in Georgia, we don't have those. The longest shot I've ever taken on a deer was 25 yards. But practicing at 180, whatever, when it's 40 yards and in, dude, it's nothing. So I can see like how, shooting a gun's the same exact way, which is cool because I like finding ways to marry the two.
Yeah, it's just having fun doing another skill set that you didn't know you were capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I love it. I love hunting. I love what we get to do. And
right.
I love
man. I like having fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that we did talk about this because it's kind of refreshing, getting to hear that there's perspectives that I think we're going to be okay as a hunting community. We might hit some dark spots, might have some rough patches, but I feel like as a whole, people understand like it's not just because, you kill a 200-inch deer. There's 20 other people in the nation that have done that too. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not about the size of the buck, but
I always say it's never about, it's not the size of the trophy, it's the size of the hunt.
Yep.
So the trophies are going to be whatever size you put on that makes you happy, but the hunt's what makes it fun.
God, I love it, man. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on. Before we hop off of here, give us a shameless plug. Where can everyone find you? You're saying that the whole TV thing's not really, is that still happening or is it strictly YouTube?
Yeah, you can still watch us right now. This week you can watch us on Outdoor Channel and Sportsman Channel. Then our new season will start in July. Backwoods Life it'll be on Sportsman Channel Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. And man, you can see all of our stuff on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to watch like really our most of our full-on hunts and stuff, just hop over to YouTube, look for Backwoods Life. I looked the other day, we have, I don't know, there's 500 to 1,000 videos on our YouTube channel.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
You'll be bored for a long time if you want to.
Awesome, man. Well, look, buddy, I appreciate it. Definitely want to get you on maybe sometime during season if you have time, so we can kind of get a little bit of an update on what's been happening and just shoot the breeze again, man.
Hey, had a great time, man. I appreciate it.